Greetings, I am Lies.
And I'm Scandal.
And let's
play a game together. Yes.
So, welcome aboard. Hello.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
So, yes, if you are here from the last
episode, we had an issue where the tablet itself was doing what's called phantom tapping. We've had that problem with this tablet quite a bit. It's quite an old tablet by tablet standards for this at this point.
Which is so sad. People are like, yes, the old thing. It's a year old.
It's almost
super old.
Yeah,
this
like
one's actually more like 2 or 3 years old.
3 years old, yeah, I should say. But at the same time, for tablets, it wasn't top of the line when we got it, but it's a really nice Asus tablet. We believe in it.
Yes,
it works very hard.
It's our cute-ass Asus Zen pad, and it was actually, the reason why we picked it is because we wanted to be able to specifically go and play a lot more, basically Android games. So our concern was to actually find a tablet that would work with it.
An Android device, yeah.
An Android device.
But so Asus had good reviews, but so it had the phantom tapping problem. Usually what we do is we clean the screen really well and stuff before we start and make sure it's not doing that, but this time it just showed up. So we missed one piece of dialogue in that quick little blink through, but we went back and we captured it, So
just in case, just for a refresher, so the line beforehand is just Burn saying, and yes, let's go together. Yes, and let's go together.
Yes.
Basically.
There you go.
And then there was just a line of basically describing what was going on, which is just Mark and I exchange smiles.
So, as long as you've got the and yes, let's go together, you are up to date, and we're going to dig right in.
Hooray! Mark and I exchange smiles. Thank you, Mark.
What for?
For helping me start this day in a good mood. After dealing with Jonathan and Cindy lately.
Whomst I assume you know both who are, or I'm kind of talking to myself in this moment.
Which is totally reasonable and makes sense. A lot of people actually don't realize sometimes where they're talking about something specific, and they just go, you should just know, and then they're like, what the hell is that? And they're like,
or they don't even think about whether or not you know. They just go, after dealing with Jonathan and Cindy, and you go, who's Jonathan and Cindy? And they go, oh! And then they bring you in.
Right.
Or they go, oh, never mind, if they're edgy.
It's actually, or there's actually some people who really take it as a direct challenge. You're like, I literally just don't know who that is. And actually, I've seen that a lot in regards to like how people will share like fandoms, or people will share things they like, of being like, what are you talking about? And even I've done it sometimes, where you really do, honestly, like, I feel like there's unfortunately a lot of defensiveness that is encouraged of being like, when somebody asks you, hey, could you explain this thing, or what is that thing? It feels like, at least for as far as I've ever seen, the usual social interaction is they're challenging you, or they're basically telling you your interests are stupid. It's not they literally don't know what the heck you're talking about, and they just want more information. That's it.
I've had that one a lot, where people just assume you're challenging them, so.
After dealing with Jonathan and Cindy lately,
Hey, I understand, you know? I'm glad to help. But, Burn?
Huh? Well,
I know that Jonathan fabricated the picture. In fact, it's pretty obvious. The brightness in the picture he combined was completely different. It was poorly made.
See? Terribly shopped.
I don't understand why anyone believes him. Bad shopping! You can see it's all over the internet. It's
honestly,
bad.
It happens a lot.
You're so excited!
Thank you! Oh my god! I tap his shoulder. Thank you!
That's gentle, like, I don't want to touch you, but
because that seems very invasive.
I flutter softly at your shoulder.
Finally, there's someone who understands that Jonathan was behind all of it. No, that is not the same.
Also, there were more, not finally, like, your friend,
Kayla totally
understood and knew. Additionally, you've already had Ben say he knew.
Right? So, and there's also, like, the fact that I honestly believe that it's very likely and almost dead on that there are many people at your school who actually already know, they just don't know necessarily how to approach you on it, because I don't believe the fucking narrative. So, and this is one of the reasons actually where I've never really liked, where people are like, so as a role player, where people go, yes, let's do high school stuff. And I'm like, high school, how everybody wants to role play it though, or write about it, is filled with so much unrealistic drama to me. Like, it bugs me a lot.
So I was talking
and this is hang on, but this is also as somebody who had a serious amount of drama in their high school. I mean, we literally had a teacher get involved with a student. So, you know,
so there
like,
was a lot going on.
There's been drama, for sure.
Okay, so what I was going to say is I talked to a high school source, okay?
Right.
I talked to a relative yesterday, one of my 14-year-old relatives. She's Fabu. Anyway, and I was describing and talking to her this game about her, and she looked through it, and she was just like, oh my gosh, that is so unrealistic. Because I was just talking about how Byrne says, everyone points and laughs, everyone's gossiping, everyone teases me, everyone does this thing. And she's like, Everyone doesn't do that. I am the epitome of a teenager. I am 14. They don't do that at all. In fact, nobody notices that kind of stuff. I said, right, because you could have like a bomb go off in one side of the lunchroom. And she says, and 3/4 of the lunchroom would not even know anything happened at all, and would be surprised later to hear about it in class. From actual high school to teenager, y'all.
Yep.
Anyway, it was really cute because she was very defensive. She's like, that's not accurately representing us and me and my demographic. We're oblivious, excuse you.
Or
It wasn't like, oh, the mob mentality was bad. It was like, we would never notice that shit. It reinforced that idea of nobody's that important, okay?
Right.
No one's that important.
Now, granted, again, there are interesting things that I think is fascinating that's been brought up due to the fact that we have such a very strong, basically, social media culture.
Okay.
Like, there are lots of things that even when I was a kid that I would have never known about or been involved in, simply because the social media presence was not there.
Yep.
The fact that, so when anybody ever goes off of going, wow, it's amazing how much more aggression or whatever the hell there is popping out over the last 15 years, guess what's happened over the last 15 years? Social media has basically been made more accessible, and the internet has been made more accessible to the average person.
So we're actually able to record and document more things and share them, which is really valuable because statistically we actually have a lot less violence and a lot more accountability than we have had before. It was really cool one time when somebody did a fun little breakdown of it going, hey, you're seeing more of it because we're literally able to capture more of it, but statistically it's all going down.
Right.
Anyway.
And it's fascinating. Well, I mean, of course, you're smart.
How do you know that?
WTF, what does smartness have to do with it? Mark guffaws behind the long bangs that cover half his face. Can we not shit on everyone else? Because again, I'm like, the thing is the mob mentality of the everyone, so even if we're going from a horror perspective, bothers me because I'm just like, that again, to me, starts bringing up kids with this unrealistic expectation that everybody in high school is going to be a complete shithole.
So this is the kind of thing, again, where I was talking about in reference to building, like, toxic girl culture, and especially in reference to romance, we were both discussing it, of the idea that your media will start to inform your behavior, especially if you don't have information elsewhere.
Right.
So you can start to feel defensive about things even without knowing why, because that's all you've seen in media.
Right.
That kind of thing. So in these kind of cases, you can, like, if you have the high school will all be against you, you can convince people, or you can, like, start to drive people to a direction of you're way more visible than you actually are.
Right.
And also people are going to be way more connected around you. One of the things that always bothers me is that people aren't that organized and connected. For the most part, it takes a lot of work, and it's remarkable when groups of people all know the same thing, are all organized, and are all connected. And the reason meme culture has been so startling as social media has picked it up, and I'm going to say, I'll try and pick some of the bigger ones, and what I mean is like bigger ones by mainstream memes, like they made the news.
Right.
Like the, gold and white dress, blue and black dress kind of thing.
Right.
And going, it ran itself through the course of, not only internet meme culture, but also, news media meme culture in about 3 or 4 days. On the other hand, that kind of thing would have taken a couple of years to get around the world previously, if indeed it didn't just run into a stumbling block kind of thing. Or it's like the Mentos and Coca-Cola kind of meme.
Right.
People going, if you don't know about that, that's fine, you can look it up. But the thing is no matter how big or popular a meme is, there's always going to be some people that haven't heard of it. It's interesting for me sometimes to watch meme videos with my friend and going, I've heard of that, haven't heard of that, heard of that, haven't heard of that. And they're like, these are the biggest ones of whatever year or whatever month. And I'm going, I missed half of them, and the favorite one from that time period isn't there. But the thing is, we just have a lot of ability to share things, but people are not that connected to each other, which is why those shares are amazing, which is why they're surprising.
Well, I was also going to say, due to also the way that the internet likes to work, particularly in regards to like Google searches or whatever else, it really does try to basically take you down more or less a rabbit hole. It'll go,
giving you more and more information of the same kind you've got.
And also more in association with that thing, which is actually why they talk about sometimes basically the idea of a pipeline, where sometimes what happens is that these things are more commonly searched up with this particular thing. So they go, oh, the average person who is looking up this thing, or everybody who tends to look this particular turn up, clearly wants basically alt-right material. That's what they're in for. They're in for Nazi stuff.
Other people who do this want that.
Right.
Anyway, so, but like, you're just not that visible. In your social circle, in your world, in your high school, even if one person laughs at you, it's never they're all laughing at you. They are all aren't even aware of you, which again can be a really good, comforting thing, because you're really free to do what you want. You're not actually as part of a group as you think you are, and you have to deliberately join a lot of those groups so you have agency over your position.
Right.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm smart.
Right.
Wait, what?
Totally smart.
The bus finally stops in front of our school.
So that's your school.
This is your school.
So when we saw it from over here, I guess that's what we were seeing. I think we were seeing a section of it when we were in the parking lot with Jonathan.
Maybe.
It's way over to the left, kind of thing. So you're coming down from this tall tower here.
Right.
And that this is your school. It really is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories on the main area, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 stories, or plus 13 if you were top on the maintenance stories on the side buildings. Because these look like double stories for that open air kind of thing in the middle.
Yeah.
And then your standard stories on the side. That is a massive freaking school. Plus it had lower buildings farther.
I want to know though, what actually do you think this is based on?
Just
out of curiosity. Because again, so there's nothing wrong, I think, where a lot of people misunderstand, where artists will go and they'll like take photos and they'll draw over them and they'll add particular details.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's a thing, it's a common thing in digital art. However, you need to know basically what the limitations of that is. It's not just straight out here, I'm gonna take the picture and then I'm gonna copy over every single detail.
Right.
I have watched digital artists who are professionals get torn apart for this by people who do not understand basically how the referencing works. Of where it's like you've got a structure, but they do want specifically a specific look or thing for there. It is considered to be acceptable. But again, I don't know everything about it since it's not a thing that I'm actively involved in.
Again,
So
people are not completely unified and there are different opinions about it in different places.
it's true.
Nope, everyone laughs at me. Okay, who's going to draw everyone with 9,000 hands, 46 heads, 92 feet, and walking down the hallway wearing one
You'd
t-shirt?
need so many
One
heads.
t-shirt.
One t-shirt.
One t-shirt. How does everybody wear a shirt? Like this or like that?
Oh, God.
All right, anyway, so this is the school, and that's fascinating. And the only thing I can think of, honestly, is, and this is not, I doubt set in China.
Yeah.
But when I've been in once a bigger city, and also when I was in China, which Harbin is a really big city, it's the biggest city I've ever been in my life. I haven't even been in very many American cities. I haven't traveled very much. Like, that is my one travel, basically, other than road tripping with my dad.
A lot.
Yeah, I know, right? And road tripping with my dad was always very specific. Anyway, what they had was a number of the schools and things were set in a floor of a building. And the floor of this big skyscraper, that was the school.
Right.
And so maybe they're thinking more like that. I don't know, that part of this is the school.
I don't know. You know what it looks like to me? Looks like a goddamn airport.
It does. I love it.
It just looks like an airport to me. Mark and I have to get off now.
Nobody else, but Mark and I do.
Just
Everyone
us.
else stays on the bus going,
just us.
I have to ride it again before
together.
I'm allowed to get
So
off
here's my question. So
Huh.
Mark is a character here. Does this mean that if you hadn't gotten the premium scene, you would have never met him?
I wonder. Or you wouldn't have met him as positively. So some people, I think, mentioned Mark of being your friend, and the one they wished he was a dateable option. I'm pretty sure in the App Store that Mark was the name they were using.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So I imagine you would have met him either way, you just would have met him differently.
Maybe, yeah.
I was like, I find it interesting, though, that you can have a premium scene that's not romance, and I think that's kind of cool. On the other hand, weird as hell, because then how do you interpret as a player what these premium scenes are for? Are they literally just buy extra content?
Again, so that was actually the thing of where that I was criticizing when we opened this game. And they're going, no, this actually influences your romance options. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Imagine it
Based
this
off
way.
of everything I've ever seen, they never do.
If they're not romantic, and you're reading this like a regular paper novel, right?
Oh, God, they
basically, hang on. So what you have is you turn to chapter 42, right?
Right.
And that's where you are. And then it goes, read chapter 42 for free, or read it with 6 extra pages for this price. And that's basically what it is. And that's and so in your Kindle books you get to chapter 49, and it's read it for free or read it with 4.5 extra pages for this price.
What you're saying is that these books are all streamers? Okay, so there is a characteristic in streaming, so in basically streaming culture, as far as I understand, which is a thing that we are trying to see if we can set up to do, because we clearly talk a lot. We're really good at that. But the thing is that what they do is there's an idea of going, okay, so I'll play for another half an hour, depending on what they're doing, if I don't reach this donation goal. That is as far as I'll go, kind of thing. And you'll watch people sort of do that thing, or they'll be like, all right, guys, so I need to make a decision. You guys get to pay me to make this decision over another.
Right.
Which is interesting. And I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. Sometimes I find it to be a little unusual, but I also don't know.
Interesting. All right.
I also love the fact that to me, it all sounds like we're basically engaging in very low-key, basically sex work culture.
Yes. We talked about that before.
I know, but it's still fascinating being like Twitch overall, like in a lot more ways.
You're paying people for their time, like an escort service.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong.
Not at all. It's
but
just
I
an
also
interesting thing.
But I'm saying that it does also have the potential to either be abused though or be used, because I've also heard some people talk about being basically burned out of going that I was just more or less like
now
performing.
all I'm doing is performing for pay. There's nothing that I want to do.
Right.
Because I just have to follow where the money is.
Right.
All right.
I do.
I'll see you later, Vern.
He says it loud enough that everybody stares at me.
Everybody also slurped off the bus through this very large, accommodating door.
Is he supposed to be embarrassing?
Mm.
Oh no! Do
I
they think
he is
I am
supposed to be
friends
embarrassing.
with the geek?
Okay, so just so
What?
you know, he is drawn just as conventionally attractive as every other dude with a similar build, as well as has perfectly clear skin, has clean clothes that are nicely put on, even if they're a little bit slouchy, they just look very comfortable, and he's got amazing hair. It looks clean, it looks fluffy, it looks cared for. So,
despite the fact that it's in
while
his eyes.
he might not be someone's style, and he might be a nerd, which I would tend to say over geek again, I say
You're
I
like,
love
'cause I
this
will never put it
capitalized.
down.
The geek is just like
The
that is
geek?
his species. He is the
The
geek.
geek? Oh god.
Aye. So
Well,
maybe,
in this horror realm, we have everyone.
let's say he
and
is
we
a
have
geek
the
and he
geek.
can't eat anything, but he's also, somewhat of a nerd.
Right?
But what if it was he is a geek, like the geek? He would literally eat anyone, anybody, anything kind of thing. And please don't think I'm friends with a geek. That's socially awkward because,
Right.
cannibalism and whatever else,
Of all the things
But
in this
he's
entire
into-
school, we have rapists, we have people who follow you around. No,
We're popular bullies for
the
hire.
The cannibal is where we draw the line.
It's fine, that's where we draw
At
the
least,
line.
honestly, it lets you know in regards to world building where you draw the line.
Where you are, that's what's taboo for us. Your
Aye.
good romance option can speak exactly the same and behave similarly to your bad romance option abuser, but the geek is where we draw the line.
The geek is totally where we draw
I was
the
like, I
line.
hope they don't think I'm friends with a geek.
I don't say anything in return to Mark because
Everybody turning all of their heads and looking at you as they tap by on their mini feet.
and you're kind of like, I'm a little embarrassed and feel frustrated, and also
Yeah.
I feel silly. Instead, I just walk away to avoid being seen together with him because I'm suddenly really aware of the surroundings and people and how much I feel like everyone here is out to get me.
And I'm afraid of having one more social faux pas because I have so many on my list.
Right, which is wild, honestly. I feel like an awful person.
For walking
Mark
over.
seems to be a very nice person. Right now, being the center of attention is the last thing I want, or just one more thing on my list.
Yeah.
Odd.
Poor thing. Oh, I am so hungry that I could eat a horse, is reminded immediately of the geek and shrinks in chair. Aye.
Kayla devours her sandwich.
Nom. So, are you gonna eat your sandwich? Aye.
No.
She devours my sandwich.
Slow down, girl. Wow. You're gonna choke. You'll choke on the tuna.
Aye, you should be careful.
Hey, Kayla likes tuna.
She does.
Like me.
Honestly, tuna can be really good. Tuna salad can be really
I
good.
know. So it was one of the things I thought was really funny, where I'd be like the person who would eat tuna, and I never understood why I was the person who would only eat tuna. Now I do get it sometimes with some of them, like the packaging seems weird, and you get this weird metallic taste. But also, I have had fresh fish, and I will totally say canned tuna is not the same as the actual tuna.
As regular tuna, I would say for me, I always thought that some people were basically resistant to tuna because it has a strong smell.
Right?
And it does smell like fish to some degree, and you have to keep it pretty cold to not have it smell. But that is only my assumption. Other than that, I've met so many people who don't like tuna, and I also want to acknowledge here, I never had tuna much as a child because tuna is expensive.
Fair, actually. That is a good point.
Yeah, so tuna is something I have learned to like as an adult and as a privilege. It was a treat when I was a kid where my mom would make macaroni tuna salad where you can make one can of tuna spread far enough to feed 5 people.
Right.
And that's how you did it. You use the really cheap ingredients like celery, onion, mayo, and macaroni pasta to spread out this tuna enough to feed 5 or 6 people.
Yep.
So that's my experience.
Sort of voiping off into a corner going, God, I remember when we just bought octopus so that I could make it for my dad for, I think, his birthday.
Different economics, it's fine.
Yep, it's
I'll
fine.
choke on
Alright,
my tuna. Go choke on your tuna.
Kayla replies. Friend, who's the other person here?
To her.
Kayla replies to her with her mouth full.
Who's
her?
Who's her?
Who's her?
Kayla replies to me, Kayla replies to the other person. Did someone else supposed to be say you'll choke on your tuna?
I'm afraid.
There's another being here.
Who's the other being?
And Kayla replies
terrified.
to that being. The grammar is helping so much with our horror.
It's fine.
Hi. Don't you remember?
That's me.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, what? What?
Kayla replies to her.
With her mouth full, don't you remember what mothers
Kayla
always
says
said?
to her with her mouth full, and then Byrne says this.
What?
I'm confused. Let's keep going for a second. We're almost there.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
I just said, hey, slow down and be careful. And then she replies to her over there. And then I say, don't talk with your mouth full. I'm embarrassed. Okay, so let's imagine there is a third person at this table. Okay?
Is it trying to, though, say, like, after... So, again, this is actually a writing thing, real fast.
Okay.
A writing thing that I've always been really irritated about is, well, writers will, on the page, they will write the words first, and then they will write how either they were said, what the mood was, what the intonation was, or if, like, say something was in their mouth.
Later.
Is this supposed to be in reference to what Kayla said previously? Because that's, again, poor writing. You don't know what the hell is going on, because that suddenly is like...
Especially if you jump back and forth and you can't read back like on a physical page.
Right?
That was super confusing to me. All right, so we're going to not talk with our mouth full in the next episode.
I guess. Well, thank you very much for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or our Patreon if you'd like to sponsor us, or if you'd just like to tip us, or just think that we're awesome.
Or if you want to hear us talk more about our head canons and the various monsters at this school.
It's true. But other than that, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you.
Bye!